Spencer, are we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I'm just making that comment, but yeah, you can start it.
All right, lovely.
Red. It's Flash.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Reddit Talks Clash, the Clash Clans podcast hosted by the moderators of r/Clash Clans. This is Season 2, Episode 2, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. My name is Sam. I'm also joined by Congressman Cool Rick and Spencer. Rick, do you want to say hi?
Dude, I'm definitely leaving in that. Oh, I'm lovely. Yeah, but I'm good. I'm good. I had a good laugh just a second ago. Spencer,
Yeah,
how
I was
you doing?
laughing too. I'm doing great. That really started the episode off good. Good job, Sam.
Ooh,
Yeah,
lovely.
I'm tired.
It's very
Oh,
British.
shut up. It is.
It's like
Yeah.
a Mary Poppins kind of deal.
Do you want me to speak in a really exaggerated British accent for this entire podcast?
Oh,
because
gosh.
I can and I will.
Like
Actually,
now
no,
I think you have to, because I don't. I'm curious what a British person's idea of an exaggerated British accent is.
Well, honestly, like at this point, I'd probably go with like a really kind of Boris Johnson accent. You know, the really like hyper personified, I'm British, look at me, I'm a big pillock kind of accent. But we've got lots to talk about. But let's start small. Okay, we've had an AMA, we've had new builder based stuff, but let's start small. New February season, new skin, new challenge. Spencer, what do we think of the new Beast King skin?
Honestly, this is a really good Gold Pass skin that we haven't seen a really good one in the Gold Pass for quite a while, in my opinion. But yeah, I really love this skin. And I'm excited to see if there's going to be a set of them, like a Beast Queen and Beast Warden. I think that might be cool.
Yeah, I always love it when they actually change the kind of, they don't just strap a costume on a hero. They actually completely change the character or the model or whatever, which obviously this skin has done. Same with the Golem King, Skeleton King, etc. I love it when they do that. I think it makes it look way, way, way better. Rick, have you completed the challenge that's also come with the skin?
Yeah, I did. It's challenging. It's not as hard as the Lunar New Year one, but I think it's a good one. This was Lexnos designed this one, right?
Yes, Lexnos.
Did you guys beat the challenge?
I did without the help of a YouTube video. It always makes me proud when I can do that. I mean, it was clearly obvious what it wanted you to do with the sneaky goblins on the Clan Castle and Town Hall, and I quite like that. You know, like okay, it was obvious, but then as obviously this challenge is for all town halls, it can introduce lower town halls, or even town halls who do have the Invis spell, some mechanics they might not have really thought of at some point. Especially, I guess, Sneaky Goblin Invis Town Hall is somewhat common now, but CC possibly not. So I think it was actually quite a good challenge in terms of introducing concepts, and then also it was just quite easy. I didn't really think much about it, just put my troops in, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, I just never like testing out where all the traps are. It takes a lot of time. So normally, this is one that I looked at, and you kind of immediately know what the deal is. I just didn't want to take the time to feel it all out. But yeah, it was fairly obvious.
Yeah, I mean, the only traps you had to worry about were the ones by the town hall, and those are very self-explanatory. So, all in all, I think it was actually quite a decent challenge. I always like it when they've got a little bit of a quirk to them, but aren't just really, really painful, which, to be fair, some definitely have been. Now, something that did happen recently as well, which I think almost everyone has forgotten about, I certainly had forgotten until one of you reminded me, and that is the January balance changes. So, for anyone who needs a recap, which I certainly did, the Graveyard spell, the skeleton count was decreased. I can't quite remember the stats, but it went down.
It's about 2 or 3 at each level, yeah.
Thank you very much, Spencer. The recall spell, the capacity got increased, so the troop capacity which you can recall got increased, I think, to 101, which, am I right in thinking, means you can exactly get a queen, and is it 4 healers with it? I think
it could pick up an entire queen charge now, actually.
Oh, you can get 5. You can get 5.
No, it should be 4.
It should be 4. Okay.
A live pet.
But yeah, clearly designed to do that, so that's interesting. Still haven't seen the recall spell much, but that's that. And super minions, they got a buff to their long shots, but only on defense. So their defensive long shots now fires, you get 4 long shots rather than the 3 you currently get on offense. Have you noticed these balance changes have any impact to you or anything at all?
The Graveyard Swell, that was the second nerf, so they are continuing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
lower
they've
that
been nerfed to
skeleton
hell.
account. But so comparing it to when it was released, it is a pretty big change. But the main thing is the recall spell, because they increased it by 11 at every level. And 11 might
Yeah.
sound small, but that's about like 20% of the original of each original level, around 15
Yeah,
to 20%, which is
definitely.
pretty major. So I'm hoping we see it a bit more, especially in these tournaments coming up and the World Championships.
Have you ever used the recall spell, Spencer?
I have not. I hate to admit it, I'm just an E-Drag spammer. I do not take the time to learn new strategies. I'm hoping one day I find the time to do that, but no, I do not use it. What about yourself?
I might have used it once near the time it came out in a war attack, trying to be cool and quirky. Probably failed, almost definitely failed, and I kind of haven't really seen a reason to use it since. I have seen it used a few times in pro play and pro matches, but even then, it feels like either it was unnecessary or it's just not really used, I find. And which is a real shame because I think it is a really cool concept for a spell, but then in practical terms, I don't know how much use it has. But then, I think it could be one of those kind of spells which finds some new meta in a year or so, and everyone's using it again. So it might just be the case that we have to wait and see. Another bit of news that we got this week, was it? It was this week, yeah, or maybe last week, one or two, was the 2023 Clash World Championships announcements. We got a fair few details, obviously nothing too detailed, but a good overview of what the year is going to look like in terms of esports. I know esports isn't the top of many people's agendas when it comes to Clash, but I love it, and I'm sure someone here will love it. So we're going to talk about it anyway. So they announced that we're going to have 5 golden ticket tournaments, which will each last 4 weeks. That will be the Queso Cup, quote-unquote, Golden Edition, which starts in March. Rush of Clans Golden Edition, which starts in early May. The Clash Masters Gold Edition, which starts mid-July. And then the regional China tournament, which is quite interesting, as China obviously had the server splits over a year ago now, and were essentially locked out of the last World Championship. So it is quite interesting that they've been allowed to come back in some form. Obviously, really no clue what form that will take, but still interesting nonetheless. And then continuing with that, the final golden tickets will be given out in a 6-week-long event starting in September. So I guess we can assume that'll be quite similar to, it is basically the same, very similar as how they did it last year. And then finally, the World Finals will be on the 24th to 26th of November. So with all that, with the kind of format being so similar, do either of you think there's going to be another Clash Fest type thing this year? Do you think they're going to make it an annual thing?
Yeah, so I was thinking about it because last year they did the 6 weeks of Clash, the championship qualifiers, and then right after that they did the World Championship. So that was a long, nice Clash
Yeah.
Fest. But this year there's about a month or half a month in between the
That's very
champion, the
true.
World Finals, and the qualifiers. So I'm not exactly sure when the Clash Fest will be because I know they did run predictions for it. So I'm thinking maybe all of November will be the Clash Fest month, but we'll see
Possibly,
when the time
but
comes.
Clash Fest also revolved around the game's anniversary too in the summer.
Oh yeah, that's right. In September, yeah, it was right after August. So
I mean,
yeah,
alternatively, it does say it's a 6-week-long event starting in September, and that could be end of September. 6 weeks does take you pretty close to the 24th of November, so I wouldn't be too shocked to see it start later if it does even become a thing. But I think it will. Another 6-week-long event. Come on, it's got to be Clash Fest again. That's clearly what they're going to go for. Where do you think they're going to host Worlds this year? Do you think it'll be in Helsinki again, or do you think they're gonna branch out somewhere different?
I'm pretty positive it's gonna be in Helsinki because I believe they built a arena, but I think Rick might have more information on that.
So they basically rented out a mall, and then
What?
they did build like the whole stage and that whole little arena area was all built inside of a mall, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's not like they went and got like a physical arena built. I know they've done previous championships, like there was one in Poland one year, and like they do hold
Was there
events
one in
internationally.
Estonia, I think, or Germany?
Maybe.
One of the two.
Yeah. I like so they have done events like all over Europe in the past. The 2021 championships was in LA, but there was no live audience for that.
Yeah, 2021 was in LA with the hosts, and 2020 was completely online due to COVID.
Yeah.
I'm holding out for it coming to London. I think it's a stretch, and I don't think it'll happen. But yeah, I could get lucky, and it comes to the Great Britain. But no, I reckon it will be in Helsinki, especially if they've got this try and tested formula with making the stage and whatnot. But it would be cool for them to try branch out elsewhere. But yeah, lots of good stuff to look forward to with esports. Now, on to some really big news, some stuff which has been talked about a lot recently. Supercell's been dropping more hints, more releases, more information, and that is the Builder Base revamp, or what is now being known as Builder Base 2. Whoa! So, we got a little sneak peek a week or two ago, showing what the new troops might be like. So if anyone didn't see that, it was a blog post combined with a video, and essentially the main gist of it was that they obviously want to make attacking a bit more interesting in Builder Base, right? Because in Home Village, your intervention is through mostly spells and timings you place your troops. But in Builder Base, you mostly just spam load of troops and then watch it play out. So I think Supercell identified that as a big issue, that there's not really much engagement during the battle. So they've been trialing having all your troops have some sorts of abilities, a bit like the battle machine, an ability which recharges. And they did actually share a video of what this might look like. For example, with cannon carts having a special ability to stop and become, I think it was essentially a mortar for a few seconds. Which I think is actually quite an interesting concept and a good way to possibly increase engagement in the actual attack instead of just sitting there and watching your minions or whatever destroy the base. Rick, do you have any thoughts on this new approach to attacking?
Yeah, that video was it showed a few troops. It showed the cannon cart, and the ability was basically like a mortar shot, which so at like extra long range. There's also the bomber, and that ability was like a bowler bounce for the bomb, so it was two explosions.
I saw that.
And then what are the other? They showed a giant. I watched the video like 3 times, and I didn't see the giant do anything.
Yeah, the giant and baby dragon were in the video, but they didn't really show exactly what those abilities were.
I mean, okay. I bet if it was a giant, it would be like a stronger hit or something. That seems like what its kind of ability would be.
It definitely caught my interest though, because I've been a max Builder Hall 9 for years now, however long.
Yeah.
And if I'm seriously attacking, it's dropship minions. I drop them all down, and then really the only thing you're doing is hitting the builder machine ability repeatedly. So it is real low engagement in that sense, but also like just giving every troop an ability too. That
is a lot.
You got to look at the screen the whole time, but you're still just like you're still going to drop all your troops, and then you're just waiting to press a button like as it re-highlights every 10 seconds or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how much more engaging it's really going to be. There's a lot of potential. I'm optimistic seeing that they're basically like actually revamping offense. I'm hoping that in the future we see defensive changes too, because they haven't talked about that yet. In the video, showed them attacking like a normal base.
I think defense is also quite a big problem right now because the meta, at least at Builder Hall 9, is just a big clump of damage, right? Like most bases are built around just a huge clump of damage in your base. and there's not much more to it. I mean, it's just boring. You know, you don't attack the base with any thought.
So I know we just had the Builder Hall 9 tournament, the Reddit event, and man, did you watch those attacks as we like refed them? It was so boring. It was just
mostly no
sneaky archers and getting into the town hall and getting a better percent 2-star. And man, it was boring.
Yeah, it's not a fun. I mean, everyone knows it's not a fun base to play on. I like you. I share your optimism that they are gonna introduce something actually quite cool to play. I still think there's the whole issue with the second base and the fact that it can't be as time consuming as the main base. It can't quote unquote be as good, and that's a bit of a problem. But I think that's a whole separate discussion. I'm definitely interested in what they do here. Obviously, we're going to get Builder Hall 10 as well, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
New troops, hopefully new defenses. I mean, I think most people kind of forget that that's going to be coming along with all these changes. So at least we're going to get some new content. But Spencer, do you have any other thoughts on the Builder Base 2?
Rick mostly touched on everything, and I think you just finished up my last thought. So yeah, we could yeah, I got nothing.
We learned a lot about what's coming for Builder Base 2 in those announcements. But then also this morning, because we're recording this on Friday evening, this morning Darian and Stuart did an AMA on Reddit, and we'll link that down in the show notes too. But a lot of their answers too also gave us more insight into what's coming for Builder Base, and then also the other aspects of the village too. But I guess we can start with the Builder Base changes we learned today.
Let's start with Builder Base. So firstly, as we've kind of already touched on, Builder Hall 10 was confirmed by Stuart. I mean, slightly ambiguous terms, but it was pretty much a 99% yep, it's coming. Builder Base revamp, Builder Base 2, whatever you want to call it, will have Builder Hall 10. So that's always exciting. I think Builder Hall 9, was that 2019 it came out?
Yeah, wow. 4 years ago.
It was something silly like that. So we haven't had Builder-based content in literally forever, aside from a few quality of life changes. So, revamp or not, it's still quite cool to finally see some new content for Builder-base. They also confirmed the new loot system will be similar to how it is in the home village. Now, I think they already touched on this a bit. It's like when they first made their first ever announcement about the revamp, and they said that the loot system was a problem. But I would like to come back to that after our little overview, because I think that is quite interesting in how Builder Base is going to function within the game. They've confirmed the 6th builder for the home village will stay, which I'm sure is a relief to many people. Though I don't know if there's much of a discussion that would go, but always good to know it's been confirmed. They also said the tasks required for unlocking the 6th builder may be changed to quote more general tasks, whatever that means. So it'll be interesting to see if that affects people who currently have the 6th builder. I assume not. But also interesting to see what they mean by that. I mean, that's quite a vague statement.
Yeah, in response to that question too, the longer version of his answer was like, we're not going to make it easier because they don't. Stuart had said they don't want to encourage just rushing through it and getting away from Builder Base. So although he said that the tasks are going to be a little more general and broad, it doesn't necessarily mean easier or shorter.
Right, yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And then finally, I guess a less exciting thing, or maybe it is exciting to you if you're Spencer and spend stupid amounts of money on the game, that the update might bring sceneries to Builder Base. So for all those people who like to shell out £8.99p to buy every single new scenery, well, you might be in luck because you'll have more opportunities to squander your money. But yeah, that is the gist of what they announced to Builder Base. So I would quite like to go to the kind of thing that's sticking out to me here, which is the loot system. So the loot system obviously is currently get 3 attacks per day, well 3 looted attacks per day, and if you win, you get your loots and whatnot. Now, this obviously does have the problem, which it really stunts progression on Builder Base, right? Like, it takes forever to get through anything. But then equally, I'm not sure how I feel about it being like the home village. Now, I admit I'm kind of talking about a problem, not offering a solution. But I think the thing with Builder Base is it is a side piece. And I do worry that if it becomes too similar to home village and encourages just attacking and attacking and attacking, I'm going to feel compelled to constantly play builder base, which, even if it's good, I don't really want to do because it isn't the main game. I don't know how either of you feel about that, Spencer. How do you feel about change to the kind of more home village loot system for builder base?
I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. The largest complaint I see is, like you said, you really have to get those 3 attacks every day for about 5 days straight before you even have enough for an upgrade. So if it's more similar to Home Village, I'm guessing that's going to be like, oh, you can attack and get loot whenever you want, not like more grindy, nonstop type thing like Home Village is. But Rick did think maybe it might mean something more similar to a Legend League system where you have a set attacks per day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways because the exact quote was the loot system will be more similar to Home Village, and there's just a lot of ways that could look to make it more similar. They have in the past been a little wishy-washy with the language they choose, so it doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, like it's going to be free for all, loot as much as you want, attacker only, like defense doesn't matter. I don't know. The 3 attacks a day was kind of nice because you didn't have to have a large commitment to doing builder base, but it also was kind of nice because builder base wasn't fun, so you didn't have to have a huge commitment either. So as long as the core builder base gameplay is fun, I really won't mind doing more than 3 a day.
I just don't know if I want to almost feel forced to grind it, if that makes sense. But I'm hoping they will find some sort of happy medium, because I think if it just turns into the home village, I mean, the closer they get to the home village, the less you'll think or I guess you should, the more you will think, why does builder base exist? Why, if it's getting so similar to the home village, why do we even have a second base? But with the build-based stuff, I think that mostly covers what there is to say about it. Do either of you have anything to add on all the build-based shenanigans for now?
Yeah, so one of the other things that I've been worried about too is that we have a lot of commitments in Clash. Like there's CWL, which is a week, Clan Games is a week, Constant Wars, raids every weekend too. I really didn't want Builder Base 2 to be like another constant commitment. But also in the AMA, they did verify that, hey, it's still going to remain focused on the solo player experience. So hopefully there's not there's definitely not going to be giant builder base wars, which I was also afraid of, because they've always said the thing that held back wars was that it was head to head, and that was hard to coordinate too. So when they said a month ago that they're removing the head to head aspect of it, I was like, oh man, please don't tell me we're gonna have to do builder base wars. But it sounds like that's off the table too, at least for now, which is good.
Yeah, that's good. I think we don't need more things to do, as it were. Like you said, we've got so much to already coordinate and worry about. I say worry about, it's obviously a game, but when you play it as much as some of us do, it is a lot to think about. So moving on with the AMA, I guess we've got a little bit on Clan Capital. So apparently there'll be a possible new clan role called the Clan Engineer, which has been discussed before. I have seen Darian mention it before, which would essentially be a role similar to Elder or Co-Leader, I assume. Maybe not, but I assume where essentially it gives a member edit permissions for Clan Capital bases, which I think is huge plus. And then also that they said that heroes will likely be added to the Clan Capital in the future. So I think both these are quite interesting points. For the Clan Engineer, I think honestly that's a bit of a no-brainer, because I wouldn't say a majority of people have a huge interest in Clan Capital, and I think it's even less who have a huge interest in base design. I think that goes to the whole game as well as Clan Capital, and I think the fact that it's just restricted to co-leaders for now, who can design a base, is a bit of a bummer, because if you have someone who's really motivated, really passionate in Clan Capital, you have to promote them to even let them edit a base or propose something. So I think that would definitely be a good step in the right direction, as long as they, for example, allowed co-leaders still to maybe approve the bases. I think that'd be quite a good step in terms of making sure no one abuses role. But also heroes. I wasn't expecting that from Clan Capital. What is your view?
I really like that point actually. He said like Builder Base has a hero and Home Village has heroes, so it makes sense to add heroes to the clan capital. But it also reminded me, I don't know if you guys saw, but a few weeks ago, Darian did comment. People were talking about the fifth hero in Home Village, and Darian commented that yes, they will be adding more heroes to the Home Village in the future. So then when he said that, I was like, oh, we're probably not going to get heroes for clan capital. But now they say we might. So I'm not sure how all this will work out. I know there are a lot of heroes that do exist, you could say, in the Clash universe. So it would be exciting to see some cool new heroes in the game. But yeah, what do you think, Rick?
So the quote in the AMA was Stuart had said like something heroic will probably show up in the clan capital, whether that's like a straight traditional hero or maybe just they're going to experiment with troop abilities in Builder Base, so that could find its way over. So it doesn't necessarily exactly mean a hero, but something at least similar should be coming. And that was one of the things that they started kicking around early. I know we've Capital's coming on a year too, in like March, right?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, I think it was a little bit later, wasn't it? May.
Yeah, it was May.
May. Oh yeah, May, March, whatever, months.
Same thing.
So I know, like they had said, yeah, like here's a broad strokes what we want to do in the future, and heroes was like one of the first things they had mentioned. So I don't know, maybe we'll see it with the next capital update, whenever that's going to be.
Yeah, well, I guess that before we go on to the Home Village stuff they talk about, it does make me want to talk a little bit about the kind of new update cycle they announced.
Yes.
So that's interesting. That is definitely interesting because they likened it to the 18 months kind of cycle they have for the new Town Hall updates. And they essentially said, right, we got 3 pillars of Clash now. That's going to be the Home Village, the Builder Base, and the Clan Capital. And essentially we're going to cycle through updates for each per update. So, for example, you can have a Home Village update, then you'll have Builder Base and Clan Capital, then back to Home Village, Builder Base, Clan Capital, and so on. Which is quite... I don't know how I feel about it, because in one way, I think it's good that it means all the bases get content, but then equally, I often feel disappointed when we get no Home Village content in an update. And I think this will just serve to exacerbate my woes when that happens. How do you feel about this?
I think this was great. It's a system that will be hopefully consistent and that we could look forward to. So my guess is that every other update will be one of those 3 pillars, because that would be about 18 months. So then every other update maybe a super troop or something. But yeah, I think it's a really good system. And he said that once we go through the system for something, they might then after that they're going to add something big, which you could maybe consider, hey, there might be a 4th pillar in the very, very far future. But yeah, I really like that system. I think it's great.
Well, I don't think they can keep adding bases to infinity. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, could be a possibility. I don't know. I think it's good. Like ultimately, I'm the one being whingy and mopey here about it, and ultimately, it is probably a good change. But then equally, I do like Home Village content quite a lot, and quite a lot more than either of the others. I mean, obviously, very excited about the Builder Base revamp. Don't get me wrong. But, for example, there was definitely an update recently, can't quite remember it, where we basically got no Home Village content, and it was just a bit underwhelming, because ultimately the Home Village is still the main base, and the way they're kind of treating it as it's as if each base is equal, which is a neat way to think of it for updates, but I don't think it should be that way, personally, because not each base is equal. You do have your Home Village, which is meant to be your main base. So it does kind of bum me out that they're kind of weighting them equally, yet they shouldn't be weighted equally.
This is something that I'm so glad is out in the open finally, too. So back in the fall at World, I had a chance to talk to Stuart, and they walked us through this, like the whole future clash and the update cycle stuff. And, you know, they basically laid it out then, like, hey, there's going to be a home village update, there's going to be a capital update, a builder base update, and then we're going to go through. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, you're going to tell people that, right? And you go, no. Like, they'll figure it out. And people have started to, like, suspect and figure it out. But it's nice to finally have it, like, out in the open. So people aren't continually disappointed that, like with the last update, like, there was almost no home village stuff, a little bit of balance, like a super troop, but a lot of people were expecting a lot more Town Hall 15 content. So it was hard to sit there and hold my tongue, like, no, I don't think we're getting more walls or troops or anything this update, but at least it's out there in the open now.
Yeah, how do you feel about it? Do you share my grievances, or?
It's nice that it's predictable, at least. So they've been horrible at managing expectations forever. But I think now that it's kind of in the open and we can say, hey, like, there's not going to be a whole lot of Town Hall 15 stuff until it's the Town Hall 15 turn in the update cycle. So there's going to be less disappointment, but having robust, substantial updates to the capital and builder base consistently too is also important to the game long term. So it's good and bad. It also kind of tells us that the Town Hall 15 update, when it's that turn, and instead of the trickle update that people hated for Town Hall 14, where it's every 3 months we get a little bit, it's another large update to keep us busy for the second half of Town Hall 15, which will be really nice.
We do definitely have a lot of stuff still left. What is it? Scattershot, Eagle, still no levels for. I reckon we'll get to another level for cannons and arc towers. Hidden Teslas, yep, that's very true. We haven't got a new Dark Troop in ages, so I'm really hoping that comes through in the next Town 15 updates, because I think Headhunters are still the most recent, which is the Town 12 Troop, so I think Dark Troop has got to be coming soon, and obviously we should get some new Super Troops, new troop levels. It should be good, should keep us busy. So yeah, I get the new update cycle is better for the game. I just don't like the other villages, so I am naturally prejudiced against it. But no, I do agree that ultimately it does at least help making it predictable, and it does mean that things aren't neglected, which Builder Base has been for many, many years.
Like it's nice to have a breather from grinding any one specific thing. It's probably better for selling large like packs of like here's a bunch of runes and a bunch of books when you have a whole bunch of content dropped in your lap all at once. And then also it feels like it would help psychologically lower players who are like, I'm never going to catch up to Town Hall 15. Especially like when coming out of 14, when they're adding new Town Hall 14 stuff every couple months.
Yeah, that's very true.
It feels like it's like I'm never going to catch up. But now that we're going to get potentially only, you know, like we had Town Hall 15 drop, and we're going to get one, according to that cycle, one big drop at Town Hall 15 content. Maybe it's not feel so out of reach.
Yeah, softens the blow a little bit. So talk about Home Village and updates. Obviously some Home Village stuff saw around the AMA. Not I would say huge revelations by any means, but definitely some interesting stuff. So they said that air sweepers might finally be getting a new level soon. So everyone with their lovely Town 11 sweepers can finally let out a sigh of relief that they will no longer have that weird mismatched defense. And they said that it might have more diverse abilities, whatever that means. We can come back to that in a second. They also said the Super Troop for the P.E.K.K.A. will probably be the Mini P.E.K.K.A., which is cool, I guess. Nice to know almost in advance what the new Super Troop is. So P.E.K.K.A. that will explode on death. And then they also said that we might see sceneries in the Gold Pass very, very soon, which is also very nice. Love a good bit of added stuff, added cosmetics. But I quite like to go back to the Air Sweeper. What do you think diverse abilities might mean?
Yeah, so there were a few concepts years ago for future levels of the Air Sweeper, and one of them did show like a 360 Air Sweeper, but with a much shorter range. So as soon as they said different abilities, that's the first thing I thought of. Like, oh, maybe like different shapes of the push. maybe like a fully horizontal or vertical line push versus what they have right now, like a pizza slice shape, you know?
Making it like a toggle, like Expos and Infernos,
Yeah.
could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I wonder about a new sweeper level is, do we need a new sweeper level?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was something Stuart kind of addressed too. Is why it hasn't gotten an upgrade level 2 is because it's already really strong, and it still is.
Yeah, I can't justify a new level for it really, apart from
well, like
making it look
which is
nicer.
why like a new level would modify it was the justification, which is cool because are there other defenses that like modify the way they operate in a basic level
versus
that,
a stats increase?
Yeah, and I don't think
I mean,
there are.
The
I
Inferno
guess you could
Tower, I'd
argue.
say.
Yeah, but I mean, like even level
That's
1
all it.
Infernos, you get the multi versus single,
Oh, yeah.
and like nothing, like you don't upgrade it and it unlocks a new thing. Like town
No.
halls, kinda. When you unlock the bomb on,
Even then, stats increase still.
yeah.
I think I maybe argue it's the gear ups from done by the master builder from Builder Base.
I hope we get new gear ups to go back, but like I hope we get.
Wait, I have an idea. What if Builder Base 2.0 brings a gear up for the air sweeper? Maybe that's why he said that.
Yeah, that could be cool.
You know, that isn't the stupidest idea I've ever heard. that could actually be very true. So yeah, that would advert a possibly weird a point where you don't have a stats increase for a new level, which would look a bit odd. Though now I'm saying it's the spell towers also operate in the same way. You don't get better spells when you upgrade, you get different spells.
Yeah.
So, there's, I guess, the foundations for that are already in the game somewhere. Also, gold passes for sceneries. I mean, sceneries. No,
start over.
Yeah. Sceneries in Gold Pass. Yay! I said it.
That edit's gonna be so dirty with that change of tone.
Oh no! Right. Yeah. What do you think they will look like? Do you think they're going to be? I'm worried they're just going to be shit sceneries. That's what I'm worried about.
Yes, exactly. So they actually did mention something like this before. I always keep up with all the interviews and AMAs. And someone did ask them this, and Darian's response was, "Yes, we do plan on bringing sceneries to the Gold Pass. However, then there's going to be like a huge value difference, and it's going to be kind of like hero skins, where you're going to have a gold hero skin and then a legendary hero skin. And so these legendary sceneries, my guess is that those are going to be the ones that have the colored grass and the specific music, where the ones in the Gold Pass are going to have that green grass but still have a brand new scenery on all four sides."
I'm a little. Oh, go on, Rick.
No, there is nothing more useless to me than custom music on a scenery.
What do you? Okay, hear me out. So
music.
I never have the sound on.
I run Clash in the background like throughout all day when I'm working and stuff. And if I have my sound on in a scenery, the music is just so great. I don't know if you guys have the shadow scenery.
How do you not go wild?
But yeah, just let the shadow scenery
having it open that much.
But yeah, like I said, you pull up that shadow scenery, listen to it. It's beautiful. It feels like a full on musical score from a film. It's incredible. And each scenery has unique music right now, so I think that's cool too.
Spencer, what is your average hours on Clash of Clans per day? I know this is a slight tangent, but you made me curious. Now you said that you just sit there with it open while you're working.
Yeah. Back then it was about 22 hours. That was during COVID and when I was working from home. But now that I go to class all day and I have work all day, it's more closer to, I'd say, about 6 or 7 hours a day.
That's still horrific.
But actively on the game, I'd say maybe 10 to 20 minutes total.
Then why do you leave it open all that time?
Listening to the same 10 seconds of music cycles.
Yeah, mostly just for like music, study music or work music. And I also fill donations, help people strategize war attacks, friendly challenges, stuff like that. Just keep up with my clan because I am the clan leader and I care about everyone there.
It's just your own version of like the lo-fi study music.
Exactly.
And the 9-hour clash video.
Didn't they release lo-fi music.
Yes,
Clash
they
Dance.
did, and it was so good.
I forgot
I
about
just,
that.
I just know you unironically listen to that, Spencer.
Yeah, but it is the Clashmas theme, so I stopped listening to it after Christmas. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
At
I'll
least
pull it out in
of course,
December.
yeah.
Yeah, he stopped the 12-hour loop replays once Christmas is finally over.
Yeah.
Did you play that like your family function? Just a little bit of Clash.
Oh no, it was only private in like my earbuds or while I'm studying.
Yeah, walking back to the sceneries, I'm just worried it's going to be a bit like the 8-bit scenery, which I'm pretty sure we got for free. It was a neat idea, but it was just it wasn't a good scenery, and it doesn't look very nice. And I am a bit worried that all the new sceneries are going to follow a similar trend of just being a bit wank.
I wonder if it's like, well, because they said gold pass, so it's probably gonna be on the top tier and not on the free pass.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
there's
like
no way
I
to
could
give
see
anything.
like them tossing us a free week builder base scenery when that update comes.
Oh yeah, I can see that. And then everyone will use it, so there's almost no point in having it. But yeah, no, I can definitely see that. The other thing we got from the home village was the super treat for Pekka being the mini Pekka. I mean, does that excite you? Any of you? Do either of you ever use Pekkas?
No, I was saying the other day the Pekkas are dumb and pointless.
I'd say they're right there with Valkyrie. After a certain level, there's just no use for them.
Oh no,
Like,
I wouldn't place them that low.
They came back in a big way for Pekka Smash with Super Wizards, and then that was early Town Hall 14. Like that was the attack for a while, and then people just got away from it.
Mad.
There's
I think
better
was it
Dragons.
Jake's Tiger which just smashed out the park with what's his name, Pekka Smash, and then they just kind of came out of nowhere, being extremely good at it. I think it was them. I wonder if we'll see Jake's Tiger again now that there is a Chinese World Championship qualifier. However,
I'm also wondering how they're gonna keep because everything we've heard about the China versions of the game over the last year that it's been split has been
it's outdated.
Yeah, that it's outdated and they don't have stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody said it last week they still don't have the Super Miner, so it's not it's not like Super Miner is in the meta right now. But at some for them to come to Worlds, like they would have to have experience on the same same game essentially. So I wonder.
Which maybe does implicitly imply that Supercell is intending to make sure they're completely synced at some point this year, which will be good for the Chinese players because, to be fair, they have been absolutely stiffed by being completely disconnected from the entire rest of the world, which not only is a problem for clans and people they know on Clash, but also apparently the loot there is pretty dire, as obviously everyone's awake and sleeping in the same time zones, give or take. So I can't imagine that's a wonderful experience. Even though there's a lot of people in China, it can't supplement having the entire world as a loot pool compared to having just one country. But yeah, maybe they are intending to catch up, if you will, because they only got Clan Capital relatively recently, didn't they?
Yeah, they got Clan Capital in October with Town Hall 15, so it's all one big update.
I think the final big piece of home village news that I saw in an AMA was they're saying, hey, some kind of pet potion is on the table now, because they didn't want to do it for Town Hall 14 because it would be essentially a Town Hall 14 specific potion. Now that's not the case, so they did say some kind of pet potion, whether it's splitting out heroes or just a potion that speeds up the pet house, which is really what we need. That's back on the table.
It always feels like you should be able to use research potions in the pet house, and it's really annoying because sometimes I want to use a potion to spend Dark Elixir really quickly, but I don't want to use a book either because it's midway through the upgrade, and it feels really weird not being able to. Though I wish they didn't need to use a separate potion for it.
Yeah, it would be fair to be able to use a research potion in the pet house and have it only affect the pet house and not the lab in the pet house. Like if you had to choose one or the other, I think that would be fair and
especially
fairly balanced.
Because the scaling, the higher town halls, obviously those upgrades in the lab are so much longer. So this will kind of make up for the value, because the value of that the lab potion has definitely decreased as we're working our way up those town halls.
Yeah, and also I feel like it's just beneficial to not add a new spell, which even though, or potion, sorry, even though now it's for town 15 and 14, that's still 2 town halls out of 15. I mean, I know we had the super troop spell, which isn't that inclusive either when you say it that way, but for only 2 of the top town halls, having a potion exclusive for them does seem a bit meh. So I would prefer if they just incorporated what they already have, a potion which increases the speed of something upgrading in a lab type thing. I mean, they literally have it right there. I don't know why they don't just use that. Is there anything else from the AMA that you guys thought was interesting? Not necessarily update, home village, builder base, clan capital stuff, but just anything that caught your eye?
There was one last point. Someone asked to give an update on the merchant and the future of merchandise for Clash of Clans and Supercell games, and they said that they've been hiring people to specifically work on bringing all their merchandise to the world. But they did also say that it's going to take a long time until we see something.
Yeah, I mean, merchandise. Obviously, Supercell's a big company, but merchandise is a big step for a company to take in terms of having just to store everything, have your own shop, distributing it all. I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. So I'm honestly surprised they want to do it at all, because that might.
What they did during the anniversary is they partnered with other companies to basically do the merch and distro and everything for them. That's how we got the cereal that they sold at Walmart, the Choco Boom Booms.
What
Clash of
actually
Clans cereal.
was that based off a cereal you guys have?
It's just Cocoa Puffs. I think that's
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Or or whatever version of Cocoa Puffs General Mills make. I don't know if it's General Mills or Kellogg's or whatever, but it was General Mills who made the Choco Boom Booms, and they sold those in Walmart. And they partnered with Topps, the card company, and Topps printed like Garbage Pail Kids, Clash versions of them. And they had somebody made a soda. I don't know who it was, but that was mostly for Europe. It was like a grape soda. But and all the clothes was made by Champion. That kind of Clash merchandise where they kind of just like license out their IP isn't really the right phrase, but something similar to that. I think is possible.
Yeah,
it'd be cool. I'd like to see it.
They did have a Supercell store shop thing once upon a time, didn't they?
Yes, it did close down in May of 2019 for 2 main reasons. They said the first one was storage; it cost too much money to store stuff, and the second reason was shipping. They said that they shipped internationally, but they were unable to fulfill orders from a lot of countries because it's a really big process to be able to do that, and they didn't really consider it. So
yeah, that makes sense. So, deviating away from Clash here, have you guys seen the new announcement for the new Supercell's Quadbusters game?
Yeah, I'm signed up and I'm gonna be in the beta, the 10 days closed beta here in a few days.
Yeah, of course, you get to test it out, even though you're not Canadian, which apparently
yeah. They're gonna allow all they're gonna allow all creators to be a part of it, plus like 1,000 Canadians for some reason.
The bloody Canadians. Yeah,
Canadians
I mean,
get everything cool, right?
I know, like, what the hell? They're basically ours anyway. I'm sure King Charles could ask for our Supercell can just be, part of the UK again, then we can get it, and then it'll all be lovely.
Go take it by force.
Well, they're kind of already ours. I mean,
our
king is their king. That's pretty close.
Not really.
Oh yeah, it's like
he's
you have
he's not on the money,
isn't he?
No, I know. I know a lot of places are taking the Queen off the money. I think Australia is.
They're removing
not making new money with the Queen
from their Fiverr. That's what they're doing. They're removing it from the Fiverr. Yeah, I mean, realistically, all of them are gonna get rid of the monarchy sooner or later. Definitely sooner. Now the Queen's dead. They got this awkward period now where they were all waiting for the Queen to die because otherwise it just seems a bit rude. But now they got this other awkward period where they've got to wait a bit until after she dies because that's also a bit rude. Just to see her once she dies. So I think they're all kind of in limbo, waiting to waiting to jump ship. I'm googling it now. Does the Canadian dollar have the Queen
Is
on
this
it?
your extra British accent?
No,
Because it's
I'm
it's
not.
really good.
Really? Oh, good. I'm literally I'm not trying to put anything on. Oh, they don't. They don't. They literally don't. That's disgraceful.
Yeah, they're like birds and stuff, loonies and
Yeah,
toonies.
they're like weird men.
Weird men. They're probably Canadian men.
Yeah,
So
probably. They don't
correct.
matter. What do you have on your money? Who do you have? Like who
Presidents
do you? Oh, right. Like old
and
ones or
presidents and Ben Franklin.
And Hamilton, who wasn't a
was
president.
was Ben
Oh
Franklin
yeah,
not a president?
Secretary of the Treasury, so he counts.
What did Ben Franklin do?
He was just cool. He just he just invented
I,
stuff.
I've heard
and,
about
and
him, but
he hoarded around a lot and hung out in France and
I kind of assumed he was a president.
no,
Oh,
he almost accidentally started a war between England and France just for fun out of boredom one time. You should look that story up. It's pretty funny.
Oh, we probably wanted one anyway. It's always fun we have a war with France.
Yeah, what's one more?
Exactly. We've had loads. Henry VIII was a big fan of war with France, and boy, what a man. Do you guys know? Like, could you name all your presidents?
I can name the
Yes.
first 18 because my
Yeah.
8th grade teacher made us learn a song, but beyond that, it gets fuzzy. And until we get back up to like more modern day.
Spencer, can you?
Yeah, I actually had to memorize it when I was growing up in school, and I had to recite them in order of their terms, and I got an award for it, so that was pretty cool.
That's pretty funny. Is that like one of those kind of things that seems like that seems like a thing that all Americans would learn, like all their presidents. I don't know why. It just seems
Did
like
you
a
learn
thing.
prime ministers?
No,
Or
not
kings?
really.
Kings and
We
queens?
have kings and queens, like, yeah, a little bit. I could name a good few, but I wouldn't be able to name. Actually, I could probably name most, but maybe not perfectly in order all the time. But we've had a lot of prime ministers, and a lot of them are pretty irrelevant. So we don't know them. We don't care. We only remember the new ones and like the really, really, really old ones. Actually, no, most people would not know any of the old prime ministers. Like you say you know the first 18. No one would know the first 18 prime minister. Anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic here. Sorry about that. Don't know how I got onto that tangent.
he's just sleep deprived.
Yeah, it's not okay. I do need
That about
to
wraps
actually
it up for this week in
Yeah.
British history.
Yeah, come back next week for War of 1812 and why we definitely won it. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Rick, Spencer, do either of you have any shout outs?
I got nothing.
I do. First of all, that cool little Reddit Talks Clash clip that we played right at the start, that was given to us and created by GCBC, a friend of ours over in the Crystal to Join family. So thanks again for that, GCBC. You're the man. And then finally, second, Trample Damage is doing an event. If you guys are, if you guys follow him, he is going to do a Valentine's Day war. You sign up in his Discord server. I'll drop a link in there, but it's going to be using only heal and haste spells is the challenge that he's going to do. And speaking of Trample, 7 days from now, next week, Friday, February 10th, we're going to do another podcast faster than we normally do, a quick turnaround. And Trample's going to come talk to us with a special cool little announcement for Friday. That's not the event we just said, but something else.
Yeah, it's not the event, something even better, if that's even conceivable. But yeah, I think that just about wraps up. So thank you very much to everyone who listened live today, and thank you to everyone who listens on their respective platforms. This podcast can be found on basically every single podcast platform in the world, Spotify, Apple, whatever. If we're not on your podcast platform, I will literally be shocked. So you can always check us out there. You can watch this episode again or watch any of our last episodes. We have about 20 there. So go check them out. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.